Mira Business FM, where business comes to talk.
It's the morning drive. This is Mira Business FM. So the UAE startup economy now growing very rapidly. Universities are increasingly becoming launch pads for young entrepreneurs. Higher education isn't just about handing out degrees. Academic institutions are becoming launch pads, as I say, from tailored mentorship to and cross-border networking as well, to fully integrated incubators. Universities are reshaping how students, I think, scale into viable take their ideas and scale them into viable job-creating businesses. So we wanted to discuss this with Anna Shibstad, who is the Head of Executive Education and Commercial Engagement at Heriot-Watt University. She's based here in Dubai. Good to have you here, Anna. Nice to meet you.
Good morning, team. Lovely to meet you and lovely to be here. We had amazing conversations already.
Well, we have actually. Maybe best stick with the student stuff right now. But there you are. Look, when we think about the UAE startup economy right now, I immediately go to the DIFC Innovation Hub. I think of Hub 71. I think of venture capital injections into businesses. There's kind of a transformation happening much earlier on university campuses, I think it's fair to say, because there is so much emphasis on entrepreneurship, right? It's becoming increasingly attractive to Gen Z and young professionals here in the UAE. Am I reading this right? Is that a fair thing to say?
Absolutely. And I think entrepreneurship is really becoming very attractive for Generation Z because they are very much motivated by flexibility, impact that they're creating, and as well, of course, purpose rather than just a traditional job security in this day and age. So many young people, they want to build something meaningful, or they want to at least work in an environment where they can innovate and contribute meaningfully to the economy, to the community they're part of. And as you rightfully said, in the UAE specifically, but I would say also in a wider GCC region, we can see a very clear shift. It's very visible that the ecosystem is very much supported for entrepreneurs. So there is a very strong government backup. There are access to funding available, and there is a very visible culture. We can see it. I think every single listener would see it in the country.
I mean, that's how I see it, and that's certainly how it's pitched to us, I think. When we've all heard about student startups before, but the scale feels a little bit different now. Do you think universities are kind of consciously stepping in to bridge that gap between, the academic theory and the market entry, the real world stuff? Which seems like an evolution beyond like the traditional education models. There's been a switch.
Absolutely, there is a transformation. And just to add, we don't only have Generation Z, we also have Generation Alpha. And their eldest members are now 16 years of age. So they're teenagers. True. And there is a term that I read in one survey. It's called now kidpreneurship economy, from the word kid. So their entrepreneurial journey is actually very different because they have access to mobile phones. They don't require big capital. They can just access from their phone. They can monetize very niche communities rather than just large target markets. And they see it as a side thing that they're doing. So it's a basically default mindset of this generation. Now, going back to what you said about universities and how this transformation happens, universities were usually delivering degrees and knowledge. Now, in today's day and age, they are becoming actually an ecosystem. So university is an ecosystem where entrepreneurial ideas are encouraged, tested, launched. So, for example, universities such as Heriot-Watt in Dubai, we are embedding entrepreneurial journey into student experience. How we do it? We do it via Global Business Incubator, which we launched in 2022, via industry engagement. and via applied learning. So students are not just encouraged to learn theory, but they actually are encouraged to solve real-world problems and to develop commercial solutions, where we as well help them as a university. So I would also say that university provides a very safe environment when you want to experiment with your idea, when you don't have enough business experience yet.
Sure.
So students really benefit from guidance, from mentorship, from our, in particular for Heriot-Watt University, state-of-the-art infrastructure. And basically, we are, as a university, bridging this gap between the education and employment.
Okay, so let's talk about the mechanics of the change. So 4 years ago, you launched the incubator, 2022? I think you said.
2022.
Okay. So historically, what happened was a student would have a bright idea and they would either wait until graduation or they would drop out and do it. I'm thinking of the Steve Jobs of this world. That was kind of how it was,
Yes.
right? So today, you offer like a structured kind of practical support for that. What role does what are the details of what the EBS Global Incubator plays in supporting entrepreneurs and startups? What does it look like in practice?
Absolutely. So EBS Global Incubator, so just for listeners' understanding, it's part of Heriot-Watt University Dubai. And it plays a critical role where we early stage entrepreneurs, they're being supported, they have strong ideas, but usually, as you can imagine, they lack the structure, they lack the experience, as I mentioned, and they lack the access to networks. So what we offer is a 4 months, very structured journey where the founders take their idea from the very early stage.
Right.
They are validated, and then we bring them to investor-ready stage. So the program includes helping to refine their business model, work on their pitch. Sometimes we had things where with the first pitch, you actually had to change it completely because they realized how unsustainable the first pitch was. So this is all work in progress. So we test their assumptions. We built very early prototypes. And we also understand their target market. Because when I, for example, mentored last year, we realized the target market for a startup that I mentored at the end was completely different. But you need to go through the business incubator to understand it and to refine your idea.
Okay.
So in summary, all our participants, they benefit from also global research alignment. We have zero equity model. And also, of course, technical validation is what we can offer.
So what kinds of things you were mentoring? Can you talk about some of the things that you've mentored or some of the ideas that have sprung out of Heriot-Watt?
I was a mentor of a absolutely fantastic student of Heriot-Watt, Veronica Kim. Greetings to Veronica.
Okay.
We worked on her idea, which she successfully launched, and it's a global application for women. So I won't go too much into detail, but definitely one of the success stories.
Okay.
And I think mentorship is a critical part of what Heriot-Watt is offering to students who want to become entrepreneurs.
Sure.
And mentors come from industry, mentors come from academic faculty who are also industry experts. So I think the amount of support that entrepreneur today is receiving from the university infrastructure is absolutely incredible. And I always say our students are very lucky to be part of that ecosystem. And also peer community.
Do you know what? I think you're in a very fortunate position if you're here as well, because there's an alignment with the UAE national agenda, which is the knowledge-based economy, how to foster that. The idea is to double the number of startups. I think it's in the next 5 years. It's by 2031. But there's also this kind of, I don't know how to put this into words. We talk about this a lot, and it's almost an ethereal, untouchable thing, but there's a can-do mentality in Dubai. You're encouraged, I think, to do that, to be better here as well. And there's a lot of assistance around.
Absolutely. You have to have can-do attitude, whether you're in a startup, whether you're in a corporate environment. That attitude changes everything. This is a path to success. You can always gain skills, but that attitude that you can do it, that you're street smart, that is absolutely a must in today's world.
Yeah. Do you think, and I'm looking at my own experience here, if I'm really honest with you, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. If I'm really honest with you, kind of thing. And that was very much when I was finishing school. I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I kind of meandered in a direction. Do you think more students are entering university now with very specific business ideas in mind, with a real direction of this is where I want to get to? Is that happening?
I think they do. When I observe Generation Z and Generation Alpha, who are now teenagers and very soon entering universities, they do come with very specific ideas, great ideas. They're very astute. They know what they want. But I think, as I mentioned, it's a journey. You need to go through certain paths to refine your idea, to make it commercially viable. Not just to have a brilliant idea is not enough. You need to have a proper execution.
Sure.
And this is where I think universities, with mentors and academic leadership, really play a critical role.
So you need to get to the point where, and these are, I think, two of the biggest hurdles, access to early stage capital once you've refined the idea and you think, I'm going to move ahead with this. And then, understanding compliance, the things that you need to have in place, whether it's a license, whether it's corporate tax, whatever it is. How do you bridge that gap through industry partnerships? Do you have corporate sponsors, or is venture capital looking at student talent? How does that fall into place?
I think it will depend on different university and business schools, because every business incubator is at a different stage.
Yeah.
So for us, it's critical to bring our students with their entrepreneurial ideas, but overall, actually, all students in front of decision makers, industry experts. So as a university, we regularly invite CEOs and high-level experts to speak in front of them. So they have truly access to them, where they can ask them questions about their success stories, about the industry path, and simply to understand what a successful person can bring. So, as I mentioned, this is done via industry engagement. But more specifically for business incubator, we have very special support for them from mentors, from academics, and we try to place them whenever possible to funders, to those who can sponsor their ideas.
Okay. What do you think the biggest challenges are for young leaders, typically the things that they face in the early stages?
Great question. Typically, they face all very similar challenges. I would say, first of all, they need to validate. Is their idea viable at all? They need to understand how to build a successful business model, how to build strategy, marketing plan, and often just to know where to start. Because I think you would agree that the most important and difficult thing is to start something.
Yeah, I mean, the best time to start something is now.
Now, exactly.
Just
So they start,
yeah.
and that's where university such as Harriet-Watt supports them. And there is another challenge that I think is very important. It's also about the confidence. So usually first-time founders, they are not quite sure about the concept and concept to execution stage. So with Incubator, we provide this very structured environment, and very importantly, the peer community. Because you don't want to work in isolation. You want to have similar-minded people, also founders of other startups, and learn from them. This is another benefit of incubators. So we basically break the entire journey into steps. We validate the idea, we do the market research, we prototype, and do the pitches. And of course, providing access to all these tools to make the experience less overwhelming. I think that is very important for first-time founders.
I think that's key, isn't it? To keep clarity, because, when you're younger, life presents a challenge. I was very much a person, I'd be like, I'll deal with that next week. And I put things off. And it took me years to learn, just deal with it. Jump over it, go through the hoops, whatever it is you need to do. I think that's much harder when you're younger. So mentorship and those industry connections are really, really important in a startup, aren't they?
I would say they're critical.
Yeah.
Because you can't do anything on your own. No matter which environment you work, again, startup, corporate, big organization, you cannot do anything in isolation. There's always going to be a team around you. And this is what we also try to explain to our students, because you can have a brilliant idea, you can be a very strong personality, but there are people around you, and you need to understand how to work with them, learn from them.
But that's another side, learning how to work with people.
Super important.
That's something that has to come. And I guess if you're a young leader with a great idea, you're going to have people working for you. You've never bossed anybody around. You may have to talk to people a lot older than you and tell them what to do with your great idea. There's so many things tied up with this. Just a reminder, all of our previous interviews are available through mirabusiness.fm. What kinds of startup trends, Anna, or industries are emerging at the moment with young entrepreneurs? Are you seeing anything, any kind of specific direction? I mean, I'm thinking everything's AI now, so I suppose that's something, tech, obviously.
I was just about to say,
I kind of thought, yeah.
Most of applications that we see is with AI, and there are so many dimensions of AI. So I'm not surprised that this is, where economy is going as well.
Yeah. So
I think, yes, the answer would be AI.
Do you think that the UAE is in a position where it is, this is obviously where you're based, where you're mentoring people, where you're developing people, if you like. Do you think the UAE has a particular advantage in terms of its mentality? Is it a great place, a regional hub for startups? Do you see it that way?
I believe that's the best place, because UAE, for many years now, positioned itself very strategically, being one of the region's leading innovative economies, basically an innovation hub. So how it was achieved? It was achieved through very supportive regulations. Digital infrastructure is there. There is, very importantly, global connectivity, and of course, pro-business policies. So specifically Dubai and Abu Dhabi, they have world-class infrastructure. They're very friendly investor regulations. And very importantly, we have very international talent pool here. Thus, we have so many ideas and so many applications every single year. So this year, we're opening, for example, cohort number 7 for Heriot Watt.
Number 7?
Number 7,
okay.
Exactly. And last year, we received about 120 applications. So I think you can see how excited everybody is about being here in the UAE. And of course, there are numerous accelerators. Yeah. There are numerous free zones. Yeah. There are lots of funding initiatives, access to all different regional and global markets. So I wouldn't see any reason why an entrepreneur or first-time founder would not want to be here. And of course, as you might know, UAE is also very highly ranked in Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. I think it was ranked number 1 globally in 2024-2025 report.
I didn't know that, but I'm
Yes.
not surprised by that, to be honest with you. So you had 120 applications last year.
Yes.
What do you expect this year?
I would expect maybe the same or more.
Yeah.
Because again, if we look at young people, everybody has such an amazing access to internet, to all the AI tools, and the world is their oyster. So especially here in the UAE, I would think it would only grow.
You oversee adult education, executive education as well, don't you?
Yes.
At Heriot Watt. So you see the market from both ends. You've got corporate veterans upskilling, I guess.
Yes.
You've got Gen Z students disrupting, Gen Alpha students disrupting, apparently. The 16-year-olds coming in as well. So we've got this huge, rapid rise in automation, AI, fractional employment is a phrase that we'll hear regularly.
True.
How has the definition of employability changed, do you think? Is entrepreneurship training now mandatory, even for students that are maybe going to go in a standard corporate direction? Is that part of the, I don't know, a new mindset?
I think that's a really good question, because ultimately the entrepreneurial thinking is not just for startups or entrepreneurs.
Exactly. Yeah.
What does it mean? You need to identify opportunities and ideas. You need to be able to solve problems in a creative way. You need to be very agile. You need to adapt to change. That is not just for entrepreneurs. That is actually life skills, and even for corporates. It's valuable across every industry, not just within startups. So employers are also increasingly value people who can think independently, who can come up with ideas, who can create and follow through business plan. So everything that we see in corporate culture, right? So no matter where you go, you actually have to be an entrepreneur. From my personal experience, from my 20 years journey in corporate environment, I can very much say and confirm that throughout my career, I had to be highly entrepreneurial. So, for example, if I was tasked to open a new branch of an existing AQ for a global expansion, I had to literally start up the office, create a team, think of how we're going to position ourselves, and make it commercially viable. Everything what an entrepreneur would do, but within corporate environment. So basically, you end up doing what founders do. You go through the same path. So I think entrepreneurship is basically a mindset, and especially in an uncertain times and times of change, this is critical. No matter which pathway our students take, we highly encourage this very creative entrepreneurial thinking.
And the thing is, it's critical because, as you say there, okay, so you're tasked with opening a branch somewhere, and there's your office, so you just got to bring people in and get everybody settled, then you manage them, and it's all fine. But that's not what it is. It may be that, I don't know, you have a flood and you have to deal with, I don't know, a flooded building. You've got an outage in electricity. There are all these other things that can happen because life gets in the way, right?
Yes.
And, you have to be able to adapt. Getting that across is the key to this. These are the very basic skills I get. I imagine that students have to learn the problem-solving skills, to get that thinking going. Plus, they have to manage and own a business as well.
Exactly. And yeah, it's a life skill.
Yeah. How closely do you work with industry to prepare students for the future economy? What kinds of things do you do with industry?
So it's more with executive education in this case, but of course, via business incubator, we heavily interact with industry to mentor, to find potentially sponsors, to bring students, on a platform where they can have access to all the opportunities. We work closely with industry, with both private and public sector. Again, I think this industry engagement comes across the entire university, be it career services, be it executive education training, bespoke programs, be it business incubator. I would say every day we connect with industry as the university as a whole, but it just from various departments and parts of the university.
Is there kind of a, people have been at university and they learned from people at university. Is there an element of people looking to, actively trying to help out because they want to pay it forward or pay the university back? Is there that kind of thing? When you call somebody and say, look, I'm looking for a mentor for X, are people generally like, oh, I'd love to do that. That's an opportunity. I want to give something back?
We see that, absolutely.
Yeah,
We see
okay.
that with our alumni,
Yeah.
because as you said, they're happy to give back because they got something very important from university. Now they want to give back. But we also see our industry partners when we do maybe other projects with them, but they say, look, we have this amazing opportunity if you would like to be a mentor. Usually 99% would hear, yes, I have time, I would love to. So I think everybody is encouraged to support young generation, be it industry partner or alumni. We always reach out, and in most cases, we have such an amazing support. And I think, as you said, this is also what UAE is about. You know, you can easily reach out and
I think that's
support.
important. I think that's important to
Yeah.
remember, you know, because I feel like that's a mentality here. I think there's particularly now, at a time like now when things are uncertain and, you know, there are other things affecting us, I think people come together a little bit more. And, you know, the older you get, the more you think, that was me not that long ago. I start to think that all the time.
Yeah.
When you're talking to students and you're looking at ideas and looking at, you know, the kinds of students that you think, oh, I could see those two starting a business together. I could see him or her doing that. What advice do you give to young people at the university, or just generally, if they're thinking, I'm going to launch a startup, I'm going to do this, this is where I'm going to go? What do you say to them?
We tell them, come to EBS Global Business Incubator.
Right, okay, there's the plug. Fantastic.
Yes, I mean, actually, I say it everywhere I go. If we have any other session with, you know, maybe CEO of one company where our students attend, I say, by the way, please reach out to join us in Global Business Incubator.
Yeah.
I think it's just making them aware that this exists, that we're there to support them, and I hope this encourages them. Yeah.
Okay. It's been interesting, actually. So it's like the university campus isn't really the step to the corporate ladder, is it? It's kind of the ground floor of a new economy. This is where things are beginning now, and that's a change.
Yes, it's a huge change, and I'm sure you would think of when we studied, that was completely different, you know. Now we give so much to our students to support them. And I think, as you said, so we're moving from education for employment to education for innovation and enterprise. Okay. So not just traditional degrees, but actually your path to become entrepreneur, innovator, and someone who can, so basically we don't just produce the graduates, but we create founders and innovators who can bring benefits to the economy, who can shape the economy. And I think that is very important shift.
And who also graduate as well. So, you know,
graduate and
okay.
you develop your business idea.
Yeah.
As I say, our students are very lucky, and students in general in this country who are very much encouraged to be part of the innovation ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you can't emphasize that enough. I appreciate that you think that I studied. My particular thing was being really good at not studying. I've got to be honest. But it's been good to have you. Anna Shebstad is the head of executive education and commercial engagement at Heriot Watt University in Dubai. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It was an amazing conversation. Thank you, Tim. As
always, don't forget to like and to subscribe for more interviews like this from Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, where business comes to talk. Mira Business FM, where business comes to talk.
This is Mira Business FM, real estate news on the morning drive. Now, Mario Volpi is with me. He is a columnist for the national newspaper, a presenter of the Dubai Property Podcast, and other podcasts apparently now as well, I've heard, and an all-round property expert. Not a bad guy to boot as well.
Good morning, Tim.
It's getting better, this, isn't it?
It is. It's flowing.
It's more flowing. I
definitely.
know. Do you know, there's a couple of articles that I want to... I've kind of shoved these together, and I want to jump straight into this because the first one was in online, propertynews.ae. The other one was Emirates 24/7. And they're both about real estate transactions surging across the week. This is last week. Okay, but it's the figures that get me here. 4.5 billion dirhams in transactions at the start of last week, so that was Monday. 15.2 billion recorded by the end of the week. So that's pretty good at a time when things are difficult. What did you make of these two articles? Because I sent them to you.
Yeah, you sent them to me at the beginning
Yes.
of the week or a couple of days ago, and my initial reaction was incredulity, perhaps.
Yeah.
That they're huge numbers. And look, I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that they're not correct, because if they're announced, I assume they have to be correct. But they are very, very big numbers. And obviously being on the ground, if I may, and I know, listen, I'm only one agent, if you like, in amongst a whole sea of companies and agencies, etc. However, I mean, well, clearly we're not doing these numbers. Let's put it that way, you know.
But
and
that's 2,700 deals last week.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
It's huge.
That's a lot. That is a lot. And honestly speaking, whilst I know deals are being done, so let's just bring it into context. We are doing deals, but we're nowhere where we were, at the beginning, or should I say prior to the 28th of February. And, January, February, March traditionally are the three sort of, one of the three best months. You can add in the sort of last 3 months as well of the year, with the summer a little bit fudgy, as it were. And of course, January and February did a lot of the heavy lifting in the Q1 figures. March, obviously, there was that. It was in shock, I think, from what had happened, and couldn't really believe what was unfolding, and so naturally people were starting to sit on their hands, and there is still that. But for me, it's the fact that this article says that the main driver is still off-plan sales. Well, that's the bit I really, it's not the secondary market deals, because I think secondary market deals, people are still buying and selling, that there is a real need there, there's motivation for whatever reason. But off-plan, especially when, these properties are going to be built in 3-4 years' time, there really is no urgency to do it now, So this period of people perhaps pausing, waiting to see what happens is natural. So I don't understand how, unless this article was written prior to the war, I don't know.
This is literally.
I'm not talking about the week's figures. I'm just, because I went on to read the other things.
Yeah.
And it just keeps saying that the growth of population and things. I don't think population necessarily is growing. I might be wrong. We don't hear the sort of population numbers. We don't hear necessarily how many businesses are opening, et cetera, et cetera. If anything, in that month or so, or 2 months after the 28th of February, things went the other way. So I'm really not sure what to make of the whole article. The figures are staggering, for sure. And as I say, the thing that really sort of makes me stand up is the fact that they talk about the main driver is still off plan.
Yeah, I mean, there are two articles here, and I've kind of bundled these together, taking the main points of both. So 4.5 billion in deals on a single day, 15.2 billion over the course of a week. They, as you say, off-plan sales, usual driver, I suppose, but also ready property transactions, high-value land deals, and I guess that's the kind of Monday morning thing.
We did speak a week or so ago about sort of 400 million dirhams worth of land that was then sort of 2 plots amalgamated. So, that's close to $500 million in one deal. So, maybe it's these sort of eye-watering projects or deals that are being reported and now into the figures that perhaps skews it a little bit. Because one huge or a couple of huge deals doesn't make the summer, as it were. One swallow doesn't make a summer. No. And so whilst I understand why they're sort of pushing this, because basically the rhetoric of the comments are that despite whatever you throw at Dubai and the UAE in general, we are a resilient bunch. And that I get. That 100% I'm behind. But perhaps it's a bit of jealousy, I don't know, because we're not doing these numbers. So I think that's probably what it is, rather than incredulity.
You want your share of those 2,700?
I definitely do. I want to know what my agents are doing, you know what I mean? Perhaps they're just sitting on their hands.
But I mean, it's a good indicator for the market, because those are very strong figures. I was at the airport on Friday night, Saturday morning, picking up my daughter who's come back, and it was busy.
It was busy, was it?
Really busy.
Okay, so I'm leaving for Eid. I'm going to London on Saturday myself, this coming Saturday. And the last time I went was the previous Eid, which obviously was in the midst of the turmoil, as it were.
Yeah.
And the airport was like a ghost town. So I'm actually interested to see the difference. Now, if you're saying that the arrivals, because obviously you're picking your daughter up, so it's arrivals, is busy. Be interesting to see how busy the departures are. But of course, this Eid is an amazing holiday opportunity. If one person takes the Monday off legitimately, if they're not working for the government, obviously, then they've got themselves a 9-day holiday by taking just 1 day off.
That's right.
With the 2 weekends either side. So maybe, just maybe, despite the fact that the airline ticket prices and obviously jet fuel and everything is expensive, I do think that people are just going to take advantage and actually have a proper holiday rather than just a weekend somewhere where we normally just have a couple of days or 3 or 4 days at the weekend.
There's a lot of good deals on as well. So, I think it's going to be a busy time.
Well, can I just actually, on that, yesterday, one of my colleagues was quite disappointed to say that the good deals, the staycation deals, which, recently they were virtually giving them away, stay in a hotel for 500 dirhams and you can completely redeem the 500 in hotel in the restaurant. So effectively staying for free in some respects. He couldn't find anything. He was quite disappointed because he isn't going anywhere for Eid, so he's staying. But he's saying that those great deals, in his opinion, had dried up because he couldn't find anything reasonable.
Well, I say that because I hear that anecdotally from people. I haven't got anything planned, to be honest. I do everything so late these days. By the time I get onto something, it's finished.
Oh, okay.
So I was ruminating there, wasn't I?
That sounded really sad.
I know, it did, didn't it? I should get out more. But that's why I'm hearing. But maybe that's the case. I mean, if there's, demand.
So maybe they don't need to because they already know that maybe the projected numbers of visitors, as you said, if last Friday it was busy, we're now 3, 4, 5 days further down into this week. Who knows? Let's see what happens this weekend. There'll probably be as many people coming in as going out, I would have thought, maybe.
Well, you would think. I just thought the airport, I expected it to be a certain way, and it was everything I expected, and the car park drove me mad because everybody's partying, and I thought, we're back. That was in my head. It's another story I wanted to bring up with you, and this is propertynews.ae. I was kind of trawling the interwebs.
Property News. I don't think I've heard of that.
Propertynews.ae. It's a kind of an aggregator of property news. But it was the headline that got me, because as soon as you see 1 trillion dirhams, you think, hold on a minute. Here's the headline. Dubai real estate sector strategy 2033 targets 1 trillion dirhams in transaction value. Okay, so this is obviously a strategy. It's a 7-year strategy, a roadmap, if you like. So it's about accelerating growth and boosting investor confidence, all those good things. It's focused on sustainability, tech, transparency, economic impact. There are measurable targets. But 1 trillion dirhams by 2033, that's going some.
Well, I struggled also with this particular article because I can't even imagine a trillion dirhams.
I think that's the point of a trillion. It's
So is a trillion
that stage before.
So a million, 1,000 million is a billion.
It's a billion, and 1,000 billion is a
and
trillion.
it's 1,000 billion.
Yeah. Depends where you are, because
mean-
actually, I've had this argument with people before. I used to think a million was a billion, but it's not. It's 1,000 million.
1,000 million is
Growing
a
up as a
billion.
kid,
Yeah.
I think they changed. They moved
no.
the goalposts a bit. They moved the jumpers around.
No, I always knew it was 1,000 million was a
right.
billion.
Yeah.
But this is 1,000 billion
That's
is
a
1 trillion.
That's a trillion. Yeah.
Well,
It's going some, isn't it?
I mean, ladies and gentlemen, get your head round that. I mean, seriously, I feel like Scrooge McDuck, when he sort of dives into his.
Scrooge McDuck, do you?
Well, only visually.
Well, let me outline it here. So the idea, the goal of all of this strategy, Real Estate Sector 2033 strategy, raise total real estate market value to 1 trillion dirhams by 2033.
That's not that far away as well.
It's 7 years.
That's
I know.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly.
that far.
It's round the corner. We may even still be alive, you
Wow.
and I.
Goodness.
Let's aim for that, Mario.
Okay, that's something to look forward to.
But the idea is to increase real estate transactions by 70%, building on the 163,000 plus recorded in the first 9 months of 2024. That's kind of the benchmark period. Double the sector's GDP contribution to 73 billion dirhams, increase home ownership to 33%, and that's Emirati and expatriate, and to expand the real estate portfolio by a value of 20 times to 20 billion dirhams. That's the aim.
So for me, it was the raising the home ownership to sort of 33%. It's a shame they don't tell us what it is today, because then, of course, you've got a bit of a benchmark figure to see how much more we would need to do. When you consider that, 85%, at least 85% of residents are non-Emirati, if I can put it that way, or are expats, and the vast majority of people, especially obviously when they first come to Dubai, rent. So 33% ownership, whilst perhaps it's only a third, and you think that's only one in 3 people. That's not very much, but that is huge, considering where we were, where we are at, I assume, and where we want to get to.
Could be double, could be treble, we don't know.
Exactly right. Yeah. Now, I assume they mean homeowners from the point of view of living, not just not just buying property, because I would imagine that we're well beyond that.
Well, from the language, that's what I took from that.
Sort of buy your own home to live in it.
End user.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I think when you add it up, I think the whole world's bought a piece of real estate in Dubai, or at least it has in the last couple of years,
that's true.
and did extremely well out of it as well. Yeah. But this is an amalgamation of all the sort of strategic plans, not just D33, the Social Agenda 33, the Dubai 2040 Urban Master Plan. I mean, all of these things are basically laser focused in making the UAE in general, and perhaps Dubai specifically, as the destination, as the place to live, work, play, holiday. You think let's do something, let's go Dubai. They've done an amazing job so far, and clearly will continue to do so. And I go back to the conversation that we had last week or the week before, where even in the midst of confusion, turmoil, whatever you want to call it, this government is announcing projects that they are spending, billions of dirhams in coming to fruition, from the point of view of the new Golden Line, the metro, to road infrastructure, to AI technology, to green spaces like we spoke about, sustainability. I mean, the list just goes on. It's like they are relentless. They don't care about what's going on outside. What I mean by that, they're not letting it get in their way. Not that they don't care. That was probably a wrong choice of word. But they are completely laser focused in making the UAE the best place on earth.
Bigger, better, faster, stronger, all that stuff. No, you're right. There's tech in this as well. It's a prop tech initiative. I love that phrase, prop tech. Real-time portfolio data, smarter transactions, and there's one of the pillars is the real estate evolution space, REIS, which is the prop tech idea. Green building standards, energy efficiency, ESG, so environmental, social, and governance, in terms of the development as well. So it's all moving in the right direction, and it matters because this is the next stage, isn't it? That's the point here. This is the aim. You've got to have that target.
Of course. I mean, again, it's going to keep us in the forefront of the globe, of the world's eyes, make our real estate the best in the world, attract finance, attract people, attract businesses, and it's that constant evolution, I think, that sets itself apart, or certainly the federal government sets itself apart to any other country in the world. That constant appraisal, that constant tweaking, getting together every so often, once a month, once a quarter. How can we improve the lives of the residents, of the Emiratis, of the expats? And you've seen that over the years with introductions to the visa programs, and again recently tweaking the fact that you can get now a 2-year visa, the investor visa, with just buying any property, whereas before there were limitations. And I guess going forward that they're just going to keep looking at these things and make it, dare I say, easier and easier, without necessarily cheapening the actual prospect itself. And when you consider, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, I read that for I don't recall the number of years, but the Emirati passport has again been voted the strongest passport in the world, which no wonder they don't give it away because it's so valuable. But this is the next best thing, to be part of it without that particular document. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say that will be what they're going to do next. Probably not. There'll be many other things that they can actually do to further improve lives, or to make living and working in the UAE even easier. And that's it. That's their agenda. All these 2033 agendas, 2040 agendas, is just pointing to the fact that why would you not want to live in the UAE? Pretty much. Exactly. It's answering that question, isn't it? And the answer is, the hoped answer is yes. I can see the logic. That's the way it's going. All of these stories point to resilience at a time when things are difficult, and that's kind of the first half of the program today, I suppose. Really, couple of other stories. This was Khaleej Times this week. UAE property defies regional conflict was the headline. 59 new real estate projects launched so far this year. Combined value 118.3 billion dirhams. So that's another, I guess, example of safe haven status, economic strength, regulatory confidence, and demand. Yes, but again, this particular article, and again, I can only talk about what I'm seeing. Yeah, January and February, or at least all of January and all of February before the last day, I can tell you that we were trying to bat away the developers from coming to our offices, wanting to talk about their new launches, wanting to talk about the project, giving us the information. And I think I've mentioned before that it was just literally mind-boggling. There was just so many that I don't know how the agents even retained any information. There are platforms, by the way, that you don't have to retain it. They're all sort of AI generated. You put in the information and it spits out what's the right project potentially based on the criteria of that investor. Availability, etc. So, but even so, you've got to have an element of absorption yourself. And it got to the stage, literally, that one just morphed into the other. It really did. And of course, with the onset of so many developers coming, you've got developers who you never even heard of, who perhaps are big in their own home countries, but have never done anything here, which in the past was a big problem because people wanted to see what they'd done. They wanted to understand and why should I invest here? I don't know whether you're going to finish it type of questions that were coming up. But with the escrow account, it doesn't really matter because even if a developer doesn't finish or whatever, the money is ring-fenced and the investors are now 100% safe in investing should anything go wrong. But 50, did you say 59?
58.
Sorry,
I think
58.
No, sorry, you're right. 59,
it's 59.
new real estate projects.
Okay. Well, given that we're the 20th of May, if you sort of average that out between, I guess, the number of days, you're probably looking, if my maths is right now, around sort of one project every other day.
It's just over one every day and a half, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Well, if you go from March, April, May, so that's 90. So no, you're right. No, you're right. And one every other day.
It's every other. It's
within
just,
3 days.
It's just under.
Yeah.
It's just under half.
Look at
a
us trying to
day.
do
Yeah,
maths.
I know. I'm looking at the tiles on the floor there, thinking, I'm sure it's just under half a project launch, which obviously you can't launch half a project.
Sure,
so
you're right.
if it's just under half a day, then it's basically one every other day, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, when you consider that at the height, if I remember rightly, they were launching one project every 13 hours. So that's nearly 2 a day. So you can see how obviously we have reduced down, but even one every other day. And again, I bring it back to what's happening with me and what I'm seeing. We do have developers still coming in regularly, but they're talking about their projects that have already been launched to try and sell or get us to sell whatever inventory is left. To remind us that, the payment plans have moved from perhaps a little bit more aggressive, a 70-30 payment plan, some even 80-20 payment plans, to the flip side of the other way around, maybe, 30-70, to show that if you as long as you put something down, you've got 3 years to obviously get the rest of the monies in. But actual launches, I can think of, in the last couple of weeks, I know Aldar has launched their apartments. It was 6 towers in the Wilds, which is sort of in Dubai land. And I can't think of any others, to be honest with you, actual proper launch, sort of new. And I know the big boys and girls, they have projects to launch, but they're deferring them probably until September. So that's why when I first read this particular article, again, I thought, is this just an article that's been regurgitated from perhaps a few months ago? Because I'm not seeing this number. One every other day is at least 3 a week, let's say, and I'm not seeing that.
It's interesting because when was this? I think this was Tuesday. This was either
last Tuesday
Monday,
or yesterday.
Just gone, or maybe it was Wednesday
last week, right?
But it's very recent. Dubai and Abu Dhabi, the main drivers of the new launches, but the figures that I can quote: 59 new real estate projects, 118.3 billion dirhams.
So again,
that's what I know.
Look, all of these articles point to one thing, and you've mentioned it before: the resilience. Okay,
yeah.
And there is no getting away from the fact that perhaps in other countries, in other regions, perhaps we would not be reading these kind of numbers at all. So I do believe there is truth to this. Timing might be a little bit skewed in my opinion, but that's okay, because I think the message that is giving out is 100% correct. We are still taking inquiries. There is still a lot of people phoning up, contacting us, wanting to know what's going on. And if we then add in the people looking for these distressed sales, which has become a bit of a joke in the real estate sector WhatsApp groups, then, leads and or inquiries are up tenfold, literally, purely and simply because everybody wants a piece of the action. They know Dubai is an amazing piece of real estate, and of course they want it, but they want it at these super sale prices, Black Friday prices, which, you will find some. I'm not saying you won't, especially in the secondary market. In fact, I would go on to say that there's a few more sort of good deals, for want of a better word, in the secondary market coming on stream, and I suspect that will probably snowball a little bit as unless we get to some sort of a resolution, which I hope we will, although there's talk of further nonsense potentially happening, which again will knock the real estate market back on the off-plan front.
Yeah,
and I think the real resilience you're seeing is mainly in the secondary market, because what also seems to be happening is that all these off-plan companies, they are all pivoting to secondary market. Now, secondary and off-plan are two totally different animals, or should I say the broker that does specializes in secondary and specializes in off-plan. They're two totally different ways of working. One has to deal very much with, dare I say, the emotions and the egos of both buyers and sellers in the secondary market, whereas in off-plan, he doesn't have to worry about the seller at all. They're buyer's agents. The seller is the developer. They have plenty of inventory, or at least they normally did, and then everything sells out. And that's another thing that you're not hearing. You're not hearing sellouts. Now, and that's purely and simply because I don't really believe that many projects are being launched. Why would they? It doesn't make sense to me that a developer would go out all guns blazing with all the marketing they have to do. I mean, we spoke about, these stars, these rock stars, these VIPs or whatever coming on stage. Why would you spend, hundreds of thousands of dirhams or millions of dirhams or whatever, bringing them, if you know clearly that the market is a little bit cautious, or at least looking a little bit longer and taking their time. So that's why I'm questioning them, and I'm questioning these reports maybe more so on timing than anything else.
There's nothing wrong with being conservative. I'd forgotten something as well. I love it when you refer to WhatsApp in the way that you do.
Why?
Because you I've always noticed you're kind of, what's up?
Oh, do I say what's up?
You say what's up, which I kind of enjoy.
Okay.
It's a Mario Volpe quirk.
What's up? Yes.
What's up?
So what's
the WhatsApp groups?
That
which
reminds me
actually is a better description of a WhatsApp group.
It is, but it reminds me of the Budweiser, advert. Do you remember?
What's up?
Well, they used to call each other and scream down, "What's up?"
Oh, that was amusing. Mario Volpe is a real estate expert. He's with me. Don't forget as well, you can catch up with previous conversations directly through our website at mirabusiness.fm. Real estate we're talking about. Mario is here. I wanted to get your opinion on a couple more stories, Mario. This, I think, is interesting. UAE tenant credit checks via UAE Pass. There is a new screening system to allow private landlords to request a tenant's credit score via the Etihad Credit Bureau. But this is the great thing about this, because immediately you think, freedom of information, and you worry. But you have to get explicit approval from the tenant, and that goes through UAE Pass, so you know that that's a secure.
Yeah, because you've got to give your number, haven't you?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. When I read this story, I thought that now this is a good story in my opinion, because again, it's another step forward in trying to sort of get away from how we do or did renting, let's put it that way, with the checks and having to pay one check, et cetera, et cetera. Most people want to pay their rent in 12 checks, obviously. If they're lucky enough to have a good job, they get paid monthly. They don't get paid every 6 months or a year, up front. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't it be great?
And so to try and standardize that, this is good, because for those tenants who are good, who pay on time, who look after properties, and effectively this is a financial one, because if it's coming through the Emirates system, then it is just financial. But I think, why not? If you've got nothing to hide, absolutely. Hit me with the UAE pass. I'll give you the number. I've got nothing to hide. So
I really thought you were going to say, hit me with your rhythm stick. I was sort of hopeful.
People won't know what you're talking about.
What a song that is. Here's how the system works. Landlords submit a digital request for a tenant's credit score through the ECB platform, Emirates Credit Bureau, right? Etihad Credit Bureau, sorry. Tenants receive an official notification through their UAE pass on their phone. So you can either approve that or decline the request, depending on,
The only question I had on that is, I assume that the landlord or the real estate company will give you a heads up that, by the way, the landlord does want to do this, because other than if you're doing any sort of PRO work where they ask you for your number, I mean, if you don't know anyone's attempting to do it, you'd be a bit shocked all of a sudden you get this thing coming in. Of course, you're going to decline it because you don't know. So I would imagine that it would inform you so that you're ready. And at that point, you could probably say, or maybe you say nothing, I don't know, but you would say, well, no, I'm not happy about it, kind of thing.
Well, I suppose so. But I mean, I guess the hope is that this becomes a standard, becomes standard operating procedure. And, in the hope, as you put forward so many times, that you have a relationship with your landlord, which is cordial, and that's 100%. Effective, isn't it?
So another question. Obviously, if you have a credit card, and you pay off either your minimum amount or the whole amount from the point of view of what you spend on that month, will add to your credit score. I assume then that also paying your DEWA bill on time will give you positive credit. AC provider, same. Etisalat do, I assume, same. Because that's the only way that you can, in some respects, get yourself in pole position or in better position, as it were. Have I read that right? Because if it is just, paying your rent, I mean, I don't know how much information is out there. I mean, how would we know what our credit score is?
You can just go onto Etihad Credit Bureau and pay. I think is it 89 dirhams? I'm pretty sure it's 89 dirhams, and you can pay and you can get your full credit history for however long you've been here, the loans you've had,
so 1 second. If I have to pay nearly 90 dirhams to find out what my credit score is,
that's your full credit history score, yeah.
Okay, well, give me half price then, or whatever. Just tell me the number. Is that what a landlord would have to do? Or is he getting that information for free through the UAE pass that I've now allowed you in? Because that doesn't seem fair to me.
No, your full credit score is your 89 dirhams. You can have a credit check, and I think the credit check is free.
Well, that's the bit I'm trying to allude to. Not get the full amount. No, that's okay. Sometimes you don't need to have too much information. Do I have a positive credit? I don't know how it's rated. Do I have a positive credit score, average or negative or whatever, or neutral or negative? And I think most people should really know where they're at, because sometimes there's something that's happened in the past that you don't even know about.
It's true,
and that will give So there I am saying I've got nothing to hide. Let's say, bring it on, amazing, great. Because if it helps me convince that landlord that I'm good for the rent, therefore I might have a stronger chance to actually get him or her to agree to, let's say, a 12-check contract. Let's say.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the idea is to offer that little bit more transparency, that little bit more insight into whether a tenant is going to be a reliable payer.
Yeah, but before all of that,
Yeah.
I think if then it is free to just check whether, I'm good, bad, or indifferent, then before anybody should say go ahead, I think they should double check. And as you say, if it's free, then amazing.
There you go. That's the new system. And as we've said as well, hopefully this becomes standard operating procedure. That's the point. And that's when it really starts to score.
Correct. And this would be a way of, dare I say, convincing the landlord that you are, a good tenant, etc., and that generally speaking, in the main, you pay your rent on time, etc., and everything's fine. Listen, problems always arise somewhere along the line. And I'm wondering if then this does become the norm, that the companies that do this sort of 12 check, where they pay the landlord one check, but the tenant pays in 12 checks with a fee, which again we've spoken about on the show here.
Yeah.
How that's going to impact, because if this works and everything's okay, whether if you're a good tenant, you get your 12 checks. If not, well, you don't anyway. How much business perhaps would be taken away from those kind of platforms? Because why use them if you're if you're a good egg, as it were, and you can prove that you can pay? I don't have to pay that extra 4%.
Yeah, that's a fair point, I think. I mean, the thing is this, right? A strong credit score could mean improved approval chances, rental approval chances. But a weak score may influence decisions, particularly in more competitive areas as well.
No, definitely.
So,
and the other thing as well, I don't know whether the listeners are able to or knew about this, but you can also get both a landlord and a tenant's report, if you like, from the rent committee. But only now, the ironic thing is, only if you've had a case either against you or you've taken a case to the rent committee, because then they obviously have data on you.
right.
So that also can be a little bit controversial, because if you've taken a landlord to court for legitimate reasons, and a landlord then looks you up at the RDC and sees that you filed a case, he might think you're a troublemaker. So that could also work against you. So even though I don't know how much detail they give, but I would imagine it's quite rudimentary. I don't think they give too much details, other than a case was filed, or a case was won, a case was lost, or whatever.
Sure.
And of course, landlords can do it for tenants, but tenants can do it for landlords, to see if the landlord's going to be responsive when you try and get hold of him, or been reasonable, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good two-way street, but I think it's going to be filled with very negative people.
Quite possibly. But I mean, by the same token, it could be that, a landlord would think, he's a troublemaker, there's been a case in the past. But a landlord also may ask, what was that situation? And it may, I mean, it's...
Humans lie, don't they? Come on, let's be honest about it. Humans
are lovely.
It was... Well, you need to come and work in real estate, I tell you.
I do.
That can be a topic for another session, all on its own, What I always say to my agents, funny enough, when especially when they're first coming into real estate, I say, don't take everything to heart, because not if, but when a human being lets you down, and they will, not calling you back, saying they're going to buy something they don't, or buying something that's totally different from what they told you they were going to buy, or all sorts and everything and above. My heart bleeds and all the rest of it, I'm sure listeners are saying. But the world of the estate agent is filled with roller coaster ups and downs of emotions, especially obviously when they're not on a salary and they think they're about to have a payday, as it were, and then it's just taken away from them at the last minute.
It's a difficult one. I didn't realise you were such a cynical soul, but fair enough.
I've been here 18 years, so real estate in Dubai is, it's an eye-opener.
Still not a day off.
No. Are you talking about sickness?
You.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not.
Never.
Never.
No, just
Never.
rain, shine.
I'm either an idiot from the point of view that, I've not felt up to it, but I've always gone in.
Your
Yeah.
words, not mine.
My words, no, definitely. I think I am an idiot because sometimes I hear these people, off sick. When you add in all the Islamic holidays and everything and their annual holiday, I mean, it's a wonder they do any work. I'm not talking about real estate agents now necessarily, but just people that I know. It's a weird one. Never taken a day off sick since I have started work.
It's a remarkable record. I still can't get over that. I think you.
Well, look,
probably
have I ever
Guinness
let
Book
you
of
down
Records.
here? Always on time,
No,
And that's-
I mean,
and I know that's only once a week, but
no, you're reliable. I call you reliable, Mario. I don't, but I should.
that can be one of your other opening lines.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's probably going to happen next week. Here's another story I wanted to talk to you about. It's just a very brief thing, but this is more products on the market, more ways of buying. I think is a good thing. Dubai Holding Real Estate, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank launching Sharia-compliant home financing. This is for Nakheel, Maras, and Dubai Properties.
Yeah.
But another partnership, so more, a wider range of options.
Yeah, we talked about this last week. This was for me, this was a big headline that it was Emirates MBD and ADIB, if I remember rightly, had announced that they were giving finance at the point of the decision for off-plan, which meant that people can really relax and know that in 2 or 3 years' time, when the property is handed over, or 4 years, however long it is, that they've locked in everything and they just go ahead and do it. So although the pre-approval some last 12 months, some last 24 months, they obviously can be extended, and you would need to do that at the end on handover. Effectively, once you've paid, I believe, sort of 50% of the project. You're effectively paying 50% over a mortgage term, which could be 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, whatever it is that you decide. So it's really just that first chunk that then is on pretty much the build anyway, because the last 50% is paid on handover. So for 2, 3, or 4 years, all you're doing is actually paying 50%, and then the rest the bank is taking care, and then you just pay much less. This just means it's another bank that's saying they're going to do it. Interestingly, it's Sharia compliant, and it's bringing in the other, or arguably the biggest developer. I mean, Dubai Holdings they're the big daddies. They're bigger than Emaar, and in fact took a share, I think a 27% share, if I remember rightly, in Emaar. So that again, they're consolidating and ensuring that all the major developers are under one umbrella, and from a compliance point of view, I suppose, making sure that they're all singing from the same song sheet, as it were.
Yeah, that's right. So this is Murabaha-based home finance, which in very simple terms is the bank buys the house and sells it back to you with an agreed profit rate over the course of the loan. And then when everything's paid, there you go. You get your certificate to say that it's done, and it becomes yours. In very simple terms, that's kind of how it works.
But it's good that they're opening it up, and I see more banks doing it.
Exactly.
Actually, one bank that isn't mentioned in last week or this week is actually CBD, Commercial Bank of Dubai, and they do it as well. So I think if you ask the right people at the bank, you'll probably get an approval, especially if you're a strong candidate. And of course, the developer is one of the ones that we mentioned before and last week. So for me, this is good. It's just another improvement, making it more available to the general public, and in this case, obviously, Sharia compliant and Islamic finance.
One more thing, just before we go, we've got a few minutes left, but His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum has just issued a new decree. Now, this is to strengthen DLD governments, Dubai Land Department governance. Just worth mentioning, because what it does is it updates rules for how the department is structured, how decisions are made, how real estate activities are regulated across the emirate. So kind of, to me, this is a reinforcement of the role of the DLD, which is an important role. It's the central authority overseeing all the real estate registration, regulation, all the governance in Dubai. So it's another sign, I think.
To me, it's two words. It's efficiency and
Yeah.
transparency.
Yeah.
And again, it's the government, in this case of Dubai, making sure that improvements are made, improvements are updated, because sometimes things get a bit stayed, sometimes maybe they go slightly wrong. This is just another way of His Highness actually coming in and ensuring what is, for sure, at least one of the pillars of the Dubai economy and the UAE, well, in this case, the Dubai economy, is real estate. And what makes me laugh, actually, or chuckle to myself, because he'll never catch me out, not that he ever would come to visit me, but is that he does turn up to these government offices, sometimes unannounced. And I remember he did it at the Land Department a few years ago. And the Land Department, they start early. They're sort of 7:30, something like this. I don't recall exactly whether it's 7 or 7:30, but he turns up on time or 5 minutes before and sort of waits. And anybody that came through the door after the allotted time, he fired them on the spot. I assume people might have had some excuses, perhaps, but I don't know. It was just that, again, that message that you work for Dubai Incorporated. There are standards to be made. And this is just another way of showing that those standards, if they slip a little bit, he just brings them back. And that is why this place is an amazing place, because it's so streamlined. And these other agendas, these 2033 agendas, bringing in, prop tech, as you say, to ensure that to sort of buy property it's much smoother, it's easier. You don't have to have all these pieces of paper anymore. Everything is online. Everything is done electronically, from power of attorneys to signing. You have video calls. It's just a way of improving everything. And so again, when I read this, I did have a little chuckle to myself, because it just reminded me of the time when he came in, and he was ruthless. But in a correct manner, in some
But you've got to
respects.
get better, haven't you? I mean, that's the point. Nothing. This is the thing about it. Nothing sits still.
Correct.
For too long. And
No,
that's,
Dubai never sleeps at all. It literally is the city that never sleeps, and it's a government that never sleeps. And actually, I read somewhere that I don't know whether it's the federal government. I think it probably is the federal government. So it's all the Emirates together. I think it's in the top 10 in the world of governments that actually work. I don't recall who was number one, but definitely we were in the top 10. And so that in itself is worth the price of admission. The fact that from a legal point of view, from how you live your life and how the government actually do things for you. Again, I say again, why would you not want to come and live in the UAE?
That's pretty much it for today. Mario Volpi is a real estate expert. He presents the Dubai Property Podcast. He is a columnist for the national newspaper. He presents football podcasts these days.
And he's super reliable.
And he's always here on time too, which is a bonus for us. Good to talk to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. If you're more of a podcast listener, search for Mira Business FM on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts from, and give us a follow. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio. Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
It's the morning drive at Mira Business FM, and we're going to talk adventure tourism now, which is a topic we don't really consider very much, and maybe not as much as we should. But before we meet our next guest, this morning's guest, here's the backstory. Now, a few weeks ago, a dramatic rescue on a mountain trail in Ras Al Khaimah in the Northern Emirates caught the attention of the nation in the UAE. Now, a hiker collapsed from severe exhaustion, and one guy thought, I'm not going to wait for the helicopters. He just picked him up and carried him back down, essentially across what was some pretty treacherous terrain. And it was an act of grit that catapulted adventure guide Faisal Shalmani into the national spotlight. He's a seasoned explorer, been doing this for, I believe, 15 years, and he's built one of the region's most resilient eco-tourism operations, I should say. He's the founder of AFT Adventures, and he's here. Faisal, known as Faizi, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you with us. First things first, I've got to ask you, how is the hiker doing?
She's doing well. She has recovered.
All okay?
She's perfectly fine now.
Severe exhaustion whilst hiking a fairly treacherous piece of terrain. What was it when you're there? What is it that kicks in with you? Is it just because you took the initiative immediately? Thought, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm just getting on with this.
Correct. So over the years, I've seen quite a lot of casualties and rescues taking place in the UAE.
Right.
I've been part of volunteering rescue team as well.
Uh-huh.
So knowing that the situation was getting worse, I had to do everything possible to save a life.
Yeah, and it just kicks in. It's just like military-grade survival instinct or
Correct.
something. Yeah. Look, I've got lots to talk to you about this morning. Safety and travel demand and regional tensions. I want to ask you, just back from Azerbaijan as well, I want to ask you about that. I'm curious, first of all, though, about what you did has become kind of viral. It's kind of legendary here in the UAE. I think for a lot of people, it made headlines. Has that changed the way people are hiking, the way they view safety? Do you think?
A little bit, yes. A lot of people are reaching out, and even under the posts that are going viral, people are talking about what time of the day to hike, talking about safety, what to carry. So yes, it definitely has changed people's idea of hiking in the UAE and in this kind of weather.
Okay, so tell me about was this the Stairway to Heaven trail?
That's correct.
Right, so this is, for anybody that doesn't know, this is a trail, there are a number of ways to hike it, I guess,
Correct.
but it's around about 20 kilometers, is that right?
Correct. So there are two parts of Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah.
One is known as the left bank, or sometimes people call it full loop.
Right.
And then there's the right bank, which is basically you go up from the right side of it and then come down the same way.
Okay.
So there's no loop. The left bank, it's permanently closed because when you go up, you're actually crossing into Oman's territory.
Right.
So because of being very close to the border and sometimes even into the other country, some parts of the trail,
Okay.
it's no longer legal to hike that. So right bank of Stairway to Heaven, that's where this incident happened.
And this is a reasonably advanced hiking trail, isn't it? You need to be experienced really to do this.
Correct. So back in the days when I was used to hike these trails like 15 years ago or 16 years ago, there was much less infrastructure there. So there was not enough stairs that have been cemented and much more stable. A few years ago, there has been development, so people thought that now it has become much more easier to do, although they do not consider the elevation gain, the height that you have to cover, that you have to cover to reach the top. So that aspect of it, it still remains the same.
Yeah, you think
It
it's
is
just, this is just a hike out in the wilderness and it's all going to be fine, but it goes up, what, 1,800 meters or
So
something?
It starts from around 150 meters above sea level, and it goes up to 1,450 meters. So you're covering around 1,300 meters of elevation gain.
Right. Okay. And I know that there have been some safety measures taken in the last few years. There are some rails that have been put in, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
As well.
That has been there. So that kind of a little bit gives novice hikers a little bit of perception that this is well developed, there are huts, and it's not remote, but it is absolutely like the last end of the UAE, so it's very, very remote place.
Yeah, and it's in the Hajj Mountains, isn't it? And it is a long way from anywhere. And I guess when it starts to get hotter, it becomes even riskier as well.
That's very true, very true. In the UAE, the thing that every hiker must be aware of, it's about heat and hydration. So these two things make any hike, whether it is an easy one or a difficult one, these two aspects you must need to pay attention to.
Okay, so that's the backdrop to this whole kind of situation. Was there a point when you found the hiker, and this is a person who had, I guess, collapsed, was there a point where it really was, I mean, clearly it was critical, right? Yeah. You just looked at the situation and thought, I'm going to have to take this into my own hands. There's no waiting here.
Correct. Yeah. So there were two things. Once I came to know about the story or the history of the incident, like how many times she has already collapsed. So it has been going on.
Right, okay.
Since about 9 a.m. Because this hiking group, they have started somewhere past midnight. And she was hiking for quite a long time, and she has been dehydrated. And then once the sun came out, she was exposed to the sun, and she collapsed a couple of times before when I reached. So when I reached and saw that she is, number one, she was unconscious. Number two, she was having seizures and no control of her speech, no control of her body movement.
Right.
So I checked her body temperature and I saw that, okay, she stopped sweating. So going through several outdoor rescue and wilderness first aid trainings, I know that once your body has stopped sweating and your body temperature is not coming down, that means after the seizures, the only thing might happen is you might have a heat stroke, cardiac arrest. Okay. So that would have changed the whole thing. We did not have the defib, which is a machine to restart your heart and so on. So that was a very critical situation. Bringing her body temperature down was the top priority at that point. And that's what I did. I changed her. I asked the female members to change her trousers into spare shorts that I always carry in my backpack. So they changed it into that. And then I used the same bandana that I'm wearing now to make it wet with the colder water, and then sprayed over her. And if you have seen those videos, like I'm shaking this bandana, kind of making a spray of water over her to bring her body temperature down. So that's what I did. Okay.
So what did the experience teach you about emergency? Being prepared in emergencies. What did it bring home to you?
For me, it's teamwork. Always, it's a teamwork. Okay. Although it has been shown that I was the only person who was doing the rescue, but my team was constantly supporting me along the way. They were keeping me hydrated. They were pouring water on her head, collecting water from the mountains. There are two places where I knew that there is water available in the mountains, because the hike was supposed to finish at a certain time, and we ended up stretching it for over 3 to 4 extra hours. So we were also running out of resources. So we had to collect water. So everything combined, team was helping me. Plus, my own hikers were handed over to my other guide. I was communicating with them, keeping them safe. So it was all a teamwork. Plus, the preparation. you need to be prepared for such situations, staying calm, recognizing these things early. Everything was highlighted, not just to me, to the hikers that were in my team and to the hikers that were in the other team where the casualty happened.
You said something there that you asked the female members of the hiking party, if you like, to and gave them shorts that you carry that are spare to help bring the temperature down, the ladies' temperature down. Yeah. It's the little things like that, isn't it, that you're prepared to do that you've got to keep in mind that I wouldn't have necessarily thought of.
Absolutely. So very small things like carrying a duct tape in your backpack.
Yeah.
Some hikers, they are hiking and their shorts or trousers, they get ripped or their shoes break. So any small thing can prolong the duration of the hike. Yeah. And the longer you stay on the trail, the more resources you need. And the one resource that you run out of first is water. So very small things, they turn a hike into kind of a rescue or a challenge just by not having a small piece of care.
And it can happen just like that in a split second.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I suppose we all think we've got these devices, these mobile phones, and there's a torch on there. I'm a hiker now, but it's a bit more than that.
Exactly. And many times I tell even about the phone and the torch as well, that if you are scrambling, if you have to use your hand somewhere, you won't be holding phone light in your hand, and so have a headlamp.
Yeah, that makes okay.
Keeps your hands free.
Yeah, I'm with you. So do you think operators generally, there are a number of companies that offer outdoor adventures, hiking, things like that. Do you think there's more pressure now to improve safety standards, more awareness at least? Has this helped in that regard?
I think the travelers and hikers, they are demanding that now.
Right.
Because they are a little more aware of the consequences. So that naturally brings the operators to be more prepared. And I think yes, there is a little bit of I wouldn't say pressure, but they do require from the government side also. Now Fujairah is doing amazing things. They are creating kind of an environment where every mountain guide needs to be trained, prepared, licensed, insured, certified, all of that. And then right now they are only allowing licensed guides to take people into the mountains.
Okay. It's interesting. There's been such a boom in ecotourism and hiking and all this kind of outdoor adventure stuff that people want to do. And I think there isn't a great deal of awareness of just how many parks there are, national parks, places, amazing places that you can go to. So this is a business for you, Faisal, of course. How have you felt the impact of regional tensions on bookings or maybe on traveller confidence? I know to an extent it's a little bit different for you, but how's it been in the last couple of months?
So people that travel from outside, they have been a little bit more cautious and they have changed their plans a little. That has made the impact. But internal tourism and demand internally, that is still as it was, or even I would say more. Because
I was going to say, is it stronger?
Yeah, it's stronger because people are
here.
Exactly. They are no longer traveling outside as much. They are still, but not as much. So there is more demand. More people are asking about outdoor activities, outdoor experiences.
Yeah. So adventure tourism is kind of probably holding up fairly well at the moment. Is that a reasonable?
That's correct. Same happened during the COVID, and same is happening now. The tourism within the country and from nearby countries, it's still on and it's booming actually. Okay,
well, that's good to hear. What do you call the people that come and adventure with you? Are they clients? Are they travelers? I don't know what the word is.
So they are hikers.
Just
and
hikers,
and we say clients if it's. Yeah.
What are they most concerned about before they book?
Safety, for sure.
Yep.
And if the hike or the trail is most suitable for them. So the type of question we get is, I'm a first timer, what would you recommend? Or I want to do Stairway to Heaven, but I've never hiked. So these kind of things people do ask, and I'm very glad that more and more people are asking that, not showing up unprepared. And that also has to do with the licensed guides and tourism companies who are putting kind of a questionnaire beforehand to the clients that you want to do this, but do you have this with you, and the experience and the gear that is required? If yes, then you fall into this category. If not, then we would recommend to start from something like Hatta. You go and do Hatta Wadi Hub kind of trail, or you go to Fujairah, where there are nice wadis with flowing water. Instead of climbing up high, you just do a little bit of scenic adventure.
Stairway to Heaven is a fairly serious hike. You got to be quite experienced to do that. It's such a great name for a trail as well, by the way. I do like that. Do you look? I don't want to harp on about the rescue incident, but it's a very impressive thing that you did. It's obviously the right thing to do. But did the incident lead to more? And I don't mean this cynically, but has it led to more interested in guided hiking tours? Has it meant that for you as well?
Correct. We got a lot of feedback from people on Instagram, on different social media platforms, that companies, corporates, they are reaching out to us, and they are also asking, we wanted always to do this, but now that we know that it's a licensed, insured company, we would like to do. So there is more interest, more questions coming from the clients.
Okay. Just a reminder, if you're listening on the go, or if you're watching online, you can find Mira Business FM on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and this conversation will upload to YouTube, and it will be podcast as well. Faisal, the UAE's kind of mountain tourism boom, the adventure hiking boom, it's bigger than ever now. Lots of weekend warriors heading out to, I suppose, Jebel Jais or Wadi Shauka or places like that. But your rescue, I think, highlighted a blind spot that a lot of people underestimate the mountains. I think that's very clear. Yep. You're a professional guide. From your perspective, what's the line between a fun trek and potentially something a lot more serious, perhaps even life-threatening?
So in UAE, the infrastructure is really good. You can park, you can take your car all the way up to the top of Jebel Jais.
Right.
So and that is good, but at the same time, when people drive, or somebody who's a novice or who's a tourist who has come into the country, they drive and they park their car and they start hiking without preparation, without doing their homework. The infrastructure enables that possibility, but it also puts you in danger if you haven't done the homework. So preparation for any hike, even for a shorter hike, it's not like let's go hiking this morning, you decide, and the same morning you end up into the mountains and you start hiking. The preparation in UAE for hiking starts well before, even days before you go out hiking. I always say to my hikers, pre-hydrate. So the day before you start hydrating, so you don't show up dehydrated to start with. So that's the line. Do not take any hike kind of easy if you haven't planned it well before.
I mean, you've said a couple of things a number of times. Clearly, they're very important. Hydration is the number one thing.
Absolutely.
And that should go without saying. Clearly, it needs to be said. But the other thing is preparation. You've said that a couple of times as well. But it's not just preparation, i.e., I'm going to talk to Faisal, he knows his stuff. Yeah. You should be, doing your own preparation, whether that's reading a little bit about a particular hike, Stairway to Heaven, whatever it is, and understanding terrain, maybe talking to people that hike. It's not just, I'm going to book a tour and my guide will tell me everything. There's more.
Exactly. There is much more. So I would say knowing a couple of things about the hike, which I can underline.
Yes.
Number one, how much distance you are going to be covering. So if you're going 10 kilometer, 20 kilometer, are you able to walk under the exposed sun or in the exposed weather? Will you be able to do that? Now, top it up with the elevation gain, how high you will be going. So walking 20 kilometer on a flat surface is along Jumeirah Beach might be possible. But if you add in 1,000 meters of elevation gain, will you be able to do? Because if you calculate, 3 meters is about 1 flight of stairs.
Yeah.
So 300 meter is about 100 flights of stairs.
That's game changing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to calculate, you have to think about, will I be able to do, and on top of it, carrying a heavy load of backpack.
Sure, in the heat. Yeah.
If it's a 4-hour hike and the temperatures are close to 30 degrees Celsius, you should be carrying 4 liters of water. So 4 liter is 4 kilos of pack on your back.
Yeah.
So would you be able to do that? So all these small things, you need to do homework and you need to understand. And then the second important thing is, if you are going with friends, who is the lead among the friends? Or is it just that we will figure it out on the go? So you need to do your homework. It's your life. It's your safety. So don't rely on a friend of mine knows where he's taking me. You need to be doing your homework. And then even if it is a friend or a family member, you still need to have your own gear, your own amount of water, your own homework, plus leaving some information of where you will be starting, what time you will be starting your hike, and what time you will be finishing the hike. Leaving this information with a family member who knows what they will have to do if you don't call them back at the agreed time.
Yeah.
So that is very, very important. I go high altitude mountain, I train people, I do expeditions across the world, but I still do the same thing. I leave information of the start, finish, time, and the location to somebody who will come after me or who will inform the authorities if I go missing.
So this should be routine. It's routine for you.
Exactly.
Standard way that you do it.
Exactly.
And it should be, these are the things that we need to think about. So fail to plan, plan to fail, and all those old adages, I know. When I was a kid, I did, for a few years running, I did a walk in Holland, right? And it's called the Vierdags, which is, it's 4 days, is what it means. And you walk like a 4-leaf clover, like a loop, and you come back to the same town. There's a town called Nijmegen. And you can do 30 kilometers a day, 40 kilometers a day, or 50. So I did 40 twice, and then I did the 50. It's about 10 hours walking.
Right.
And they told us that Holland was flat. Holland is famed for being flat. But around Nijmegen, it's not flat. So I can testify to have, when you're going uphill walking, it's a whole different game.
It's a different game.
Yeah, it really is. What mistakes do hikers make in the heat? I mean, obviously hydration is a thing, but I was listening to you there and I'm thinking, hat. Make sure you got a great hat, you got great shoes. Well, what do people get wrong?
So 2 things. Number 1, wearing the wrong colors and wrong clothing.
So lighter colors to reflect
Exactly.
heat.
Exactly.
And sun, right.
If you show up with wearing all black, it's going to absorb the heat. It's going to just kind of turn.
Not a great look for me hiking now.
Not to go hiking, but in the office with the AC, yes, it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one thing. Wear light color clothing and not the clothing that is sticking to your body or that is not allowing any ventilation.
So cotton fabrics, lighter fabrics, what's the best?
I would say more than cotton, because cotton kind of gives you rash. If it gets wet, it gets heavier and it gives you a rash.
Okay.
So there is a lot of technology now. You have the quick dry sports material. Those kind of clothing, light color, cover your head. Also trousers. I've seen a lot of hikers wearing kind of yoga pants. They are sticking to your body. They are good within a facility that doesn't have those kind of temperatures. So wear loosely fitted clothing. Second thing they do is also expose their skin.
Right.
So I would say the best protection against the sun is not the chemicals that you rub on your body, it's the clothing that you can wear. You can cover up instead of exposing and then having to put on sunscreen all over your body.
I mean, lots of clothing is UV tested, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then on top of that, if you do not know what time to start, if you have started a hike, let's say 5 a.m. in this kind of weather, before the sunrise, you should be starting, and within the first 2 hours after the sunrise, you should be finishing your hike.
Right.
You should not be under the exposed sun. Then the direction of the sun at the location where you're hiking, that's also very important. I haven't seen even the guides paying attention to this, that if you are hiking in the morning, the sun is coming from the east, you should be hiking on the west side of the mountain where the shadow is there, where the sun is not going to rise up until probably 10 a.m.
Right.
So it's the opposite when it is in the afternoon. So you should be hiking on the east side where more sun is going to be. The mountain will be providing you shade. So these are a couple of things that hikers don't pay attention, but we need to calculate everything when we are choosing a trail.
Okay. Well, it makes sense. I mean, there's so much to consider. And I guess it's not always high temperatures that are the problem as well. I mean, I think we often forget that in winter here, in the Hajar Mountains, there is often snow, it is often cold, and that's the other side, isn't it?
Exactly. So I've been lucky enough to hike in snow in the UAE in 2017 and 2020. Both times, the mountain completely changes and it looks like some other parts of the world. So yes, you're right. There is other side of the temperatures and the weather also. Hypothermia, which is the condition when you are exposed to the cold temperature, it doesn't happen in negative temperatures. It does happen between the single digits positive temperatures. So maybe 5, 6, 7 degrees Celsius, you can get hypothermia. So you need to be prepared if you are hiking within, let's say, November to February months, you need to be prepared against the cold as well. The higher you are, the cooler it is. About 150 meters above sea level, each 150 meter above sea level, 1 degree Celsius temperature drops. So imagine if you are at 1,500 meters on Jebel Jais, you are expecting, the temperature to be about 10 degrees cooler than what it is at sea level. So in winter, we get temperature on sea level somewhere around 11, 12, 13 degrees Celsius. So up there, it's going to be in single digit. You need to be prepared for that as well.
Yeah, from a clothing perspective and mentally prepared
as well,
for that change as well, because we're so used to, things being hot all the time.
And then there is wind, there is also rain, there are flash floods. So all sort of things that can happen in the mountains, you need to be prepared for. And when we check weather forecast, most of the time we see that, how is the temperature in Ras Al Khaimah or in Fujairah? But the mountains, they have their own weather pattern. You cannot predict that. Many times we go in the mountain and the weather app says no rain, but you end up having rain. So you need to be aware of the surroundings. You shouldn't be in a canyon when you see any clouds around. So all these things.
That's huge. Do you think the industry needs to shift towards mandatory certified guides for these high-risk trails? I mean, there's lots of social media hiking groups. It's like, hi, we're going to go and do this weekend. Is that something that we should be watching?
So in a few years back, Ras Al Khaimah came up with this requirement that every guided hike must be led by a certified guide, and they started to certify guides and train guides. I was thankfully the first person to get certified in Ras Al Khaimah, and but that slowed down. For some reason, it slowed down. There is not enough check and balance at the moment. But again, it's a developing industry. UAE, if we compare to other parts of the world, it's a very new kind of industry in the UAE, mountain adventure tourism.
Yeah.
In the Alps, in the Andes, in other Himalayas, it has been there for centuries.
Sure.
But here, it kind of picked up right after COVID. So for that reason, it's still developing. And now Fujairah government is doing amazing job. They are coming up with these regulations, which we want more and more to see, so that we don't want hikers to just be limited to guided group hikes. That's also not something we want. We want people to have freedom to go and explore by themselves as well. Because if I'm putting up an event on a Friday or a Saturday, it might not align with someone's availability.
Sure.
So they might want to go maybe on a Monday. So my suggestion, even in the government gatherings, was that we can come up with something of a one-day course for every individual. Just like if you go scuba diving, you just don't borrow a oxygen cylinder and you don't just dive in. You need to do a PADI course to do that.
Sure.
So similar, you can do, it's not the same kind of environment, but still it puts a lot of risk if you are not aware of things. So maybe a one-day course where you get to know about flora and fauna, the terrain features, what rock is good to hike on, all the safety aspects, plus you can do a half day of first aid training, a wilderness first aid training. What to carry in terms of when you are hiking by yourself or with your friends. So if everybody has that kind of one-day certification, they get a card or they get some sort of permission to go and explore by themselves as well.
That makes sense. I'll take you back there. What should you carry if you are going to go out hiking with your friends?
So if you go online on social media or on Google or ChatGPT, most of the time it comes up with the lists that are meant for other parts of the world.
Yeah.
But in UAE, number one thing is water. You must be carrying. Even if I don't see anyone carrying a hiking backpack, they need to somehow carry that amount of water with them. That's the most important thing.
And you said earlier, 4-hour hike, 4 liters.
Exactly. If the temperatures are between 30 and 35 degrees Celsius,
Right.
I would say 1 hour of hike requires 1 liter of water.
Right.
And if we are talking about winter, then you can do half a liter per hour of hike. So if it is 4-hour hike, 2 hours of hot water is more than enough.
Okay.
And that's also important that it's not just hydration. You might end up having a cut or a scrape from a rock or from a plant. You might have to wash that. You might have to just pour it on your head to cool yourself down. So it's not just hydration, but many other things that you can use the water for. Then, as I said, the clothing, that includes a hat, then a headlamp. People think that everything will go as planned. Many times it doesn't happen. So you might end up having to hike during the dark. So you need to have a headlamp that, and then navigation. So if you are not 100% sure about the trail, then what are the modes of navigation you will be using? Do not only rely on mobile apps. There is Wikiloc or Gaia or Maps.me. There are many applications, but your phone can die. Your phone can break even. Like if it falls out of your pocket and the screen is broken, you won't be able to see the map that you are relying on. So you need to either know 100% of the trail by heart, and also have the map on your phone. Or if these two things are not there, then you should be with a certified guide who knows the trail instead of just wandering by yourself.
Yeah, I think the skill of navigating by where the position of the sun or navigating with a compass, those are not skills that we possess anymore.
Unfortunately,
are they?
not anymore. We do organize some trainings where we train people to do that as well. But in the UAE, we do not have those sort of maps publicly available where you can just look at topographic terrain and then you can figure out your way through it. Those are not publicly available. But in other parts of the world, you have maps where everything is written and mentioned. So you can train using a compass, using like the natural navigation mods, and then you can be safe using that.
Can I ask you a little bit more about your back to your business, really, Faisal? The broader sort of macro picture hasn't been what we'd hoped for 2026. Geopolitical tensions, shipping tensions, etc. For a business like yours, you rely on cross-border travel, you rely on open skies. How did you insulate your operations? How do you keep consumer confidence high when news headlines are volatile? Because there's so much in your business that you have to think about this, you've got to think about this, you've got to think about this, you've got to be prepared for this. Plus, you have this other spectre looming over you of, the situation in the region.
So I always say that mountains are home. Nature connection is important, whether there are political tensions going on or any uncertainty is going on, you still need to connect with nature. So that is the focus which we emphasize even more during something of a sort that is happening now.
Yeah.
So we say connect with nature. It calms you down and you come back to kind of basics. You do not require a luxury all the time. You can divert your attention toward connection with nature and how much beauty you have out there. It calms people down. We have seen, we have experienced. I'm a big advocate of being outdoors instead of being in the malls. So that's the kind of side where I focus on, and people tend to enjoy and understand also.
You're in the right job, obviously. You're just back from Azerbaijan.
Correct.
Right. So you were leading a tour through some pretty rugged terrain in Azerbaijan. We're now seeing travelers in the UAE move from the luxury stuff to kind of high intensity active travel. What is it about the things that you do, the things that you offer, the vacations, the holidays that you offer compared to, the lying on the beach holidays that we all used to love? What's been the change?
So since the COVID time, there has been a shift in people wanted to have not just a trip, but an experience.
Right.
Where people want to connect with locals, want to see how things happen in the remote villages, want to see the wildlife and the flora and fauna of different places. It's not only about I want to go and lie on a beach or be in a 5-star hotel and so on. So it's more about these small things that create an experience and also leave kind of memories that will stay with you forever. So that's where active tourism or active adventure tourism comes in. That's what we do. We take people to nearby countries where things are not as developed yet, out in the wild. Like you go into the city and Baku in Azerbaijan, it looks like a mini Dubai. But the moment you leave, within 2 hours of drive, you will end up in a place that is completely untouched. And the number of flowers that you're going to see, it's uncountable. The kind of people that you're going to meet and the kind of food that you're going to eat, their lifestyle, you will be... I was there last year backpacking, And this year, I took a team of hikers with me. When I was backpacking, I camped at a location, and I was woken up by cows trying to chew on my tent. And they're so these kind of experiences, they stay with you forever, and that's what people want more and more.
Do you think you're seeing travelers choosing more active vacation stuff, I don't know, mountain escapes over, the city breaks? Are we starting to see that?
Yes, it has been shifting quite a lot. If we just look at within the country, that tells us what people would do when they go outside also. Now, within the country also, you see more shift. People want to go out. I haven't seen these many numbers of hikers in the mountains before the COVID time. I have seen there were merely about 2 or 3 licensed companies that were there, or 4 or 5 total groups that were there that were used to take people to the mountains. But now we have in hundreds. So all that shift means people want to connect with nature and get an escape from what we call the concrete jungle. They want to go and touch some grass.
It is more and more you're seeing people get away from the usual stuff that
Absolutely.
you do. Here in the UAE, we live in a big city. It has everything. It's great, but there are times when you think, I don't want that.
If everything is aligned, if everything is like scheduled, people don't want to do that. More and more people are wanting to do things that are not part of a schedule, not part of a daily routine. They want to go away from that routine, and we're loving this, that people are experiencing what we have been trying to put out for several years.
What's next for you? What's the outlook for adventure tourism here in the UAE? What are you going to be doing next? What are you going to be adding, do you think?
So during the summertime, we have Jabal Jais, where there is higher altitude, we can say, cooler temperature. Then we have the wadis in Fujairah, which have water and streams. We do that. We do night hikes. We do early morning hikes. So that's the local part of it. And then we have the neighboring countries like Saudi Arabia and Oman, where there are mountains up to 3,000 meters above sea level, and the temperatures are much cooler. Then you have the Kharif season coming in Salalah, where we go for the monsoon. It's 45 degrees at the sea level, but you enter Salalah and the temperature is 20 degrees or early 20 degrees Celsius. It's completely different world. So these are some things that we do in summer, and then on top of it, we do international expeditions. And UAE being in a perfect location where you can travel within 2 to 3 hours into the highest mountains in the world. You can go to Nepal, you can go to Pakistan, you can go on the other side, you can go to Georgia and Azerbaijan and Kyrgyzstan. So all these mountains are, many of these mountains are unexplored. So you have got, in summer, if you want to escape, these are the things we offer, and also you can plan by yourself.
It's been good to talk to you today, Faisal. The world needs a few more people like you in it, I think. Faisal Shamani is the founder of AFT Adventures. Thanks for your bravery and for your insights in the studio today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And
Appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to put out the message that you need to be prepared. You need to take mountains a little bit more seriously. And that's how you stay safe and you just enjoy the mountains. You don't just survive mountains.
It's been good having you here. Don't forget, you can find short clips of our interviews like this one and the full-length video on YouTube, but the short clips on Instagram. So make sure to check those out. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.